Well, that was a fun ride around the mountain. So now I think it's time to talk about some books. I was thinking The Dragon Reborn by Robert Jordan, Book 3, The Wheel of Time. Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Let's talk about The Dragon Reborn. Well, good morning and welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. So, as mentioned, today we're talking about The Dragon Reborn, Book 3 in the Wheel of Time series. This has become one of my all-time favorite fantasy series ever. If you've not read it, definitely highly recommend it. It's certainly not for everyone. There are definitely those that don't like the Wheel of Time, but I am definitely in the camp where I love the Wheel of Time, and I'm really looking forward to the TV series adaptation coming to Amazon Prime hopefully next year. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be good. All right, so let's start with Egwene, Nynaeve, and the daughter heir to Andor, Elaine. So there are three accepted in the White Tower of Tar Valon, home of the Aes Sedai and the Amyrlin seat. So these three women have been tasked with an extremely dangerous mission. They have been tasked with finding the 13 Aes Sedai who have left the White Tower. They have stolen some San-Angreal and Tur-Angreals. So these are relics of the One Power that imbued its users with the ability to either channel more of the power than they would otherwise be able to do, or alternately are designed to use the One Power even if their user themselves is not using the One Power to accomplish some kind of task, goal, or objective. They each have certain purposes. Some of these stolen items, they don't even know what they do, but they have been stolen by 13 Aes Sedai who are part of the Black Aja. So this is a group of women who are Aes Sedai, who are basically dark friends. They serve the Shadow. It is a secret group that the Tower reluctantly does not want to admit is real. They've denied it for centuries. They don't like the idea of there being a Black Aja. To even mention it is so strictly taboo that it will bring shame and fear and hatred upon you, should it ever even be mentioned. But the Tower has come to accept the reality that the Black Aja exist. So Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine have been tasked with hunting the Black Aja and finding them. And throughout their investigations, they soon discover that the Black Aja, or the 13 Sisters, are headed to Tyr, which just so happens to be the same place that our main character, Rand al'Thor, is also headed. So as part of this assigned task, I believe it's Egwene. I'm sure someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Egwene, even though I've read this series 3 times. Sometimes I realize I don't get everything perfectly right. But anyway, she's been given this ring that basically transports her to Teleran Riyadh, which is the world of dreams. And within the world of dreams, she's able to enter other people's dreams and their subconscious, unconscious minds, so to speak, while they're dreaming, and discover what's happening with them, where they're going. This is kind of how they discover that they need to head to Tyr, where the Stone of Tyr is, and the Kalandor, the sword that is not a sword, the sword that cannot be touched, which the prophecy says that stone will not fall until the dragon gets a hold of the sword. But the dragon can't get a hold of the sword until the Stone of Tyr has fallen. So it's kind of one of those prophecies that has a contradictory nature. So anyway, they have been tasked with hunting the Black Aja. They find out where they're going, and through the world of Teleran Riyadh, they discover where they need to go and what they need to do. This is a very dangerous task because 13 sisters combined with, or 13 Black Aja sisters combined with 13 Myrddraal, which are like these shadow spawn undead creatures, through their power combined, would be able to force an Aes Sedai to turn to the Shadow against her will, removing all free will and power from her. And of course, this is of heightened concern to our three heroines, so to speak, Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine, as they hunt the Black Aja. They're fearing for their own life and safety, but also understand the vital importance of finding these 13 Black Aja sisters in order to basically save the world. I mean, there's so much at stake here. So that is just a big aspect of this storyline. And then the other main storyline, of course, is Rand. Now, Rand doesn't want to be the Dragon Reborn. He has denied it and fought against this very concept and idea. He doesn't want to be controlled and manipulated by the Aes Sedai and Meereen or any of them. And he basically took off in the middle of the night without telling anyone. And he started his journey to Tear. You see, he's figured, look, if the prophecy says that the Dragon Reborn has to get the Sword of Kalador in the Tear, Stone of Tear, and I'm supposed to be this dragon, fine, I'll just go, I'll get it, I'll end all this now, and we can all go back to normal. So he hasn't really truly accepted his position as the Dragon Reborn, and he doesn't really want this position. But he's basically been forced into it, and he's finally like, all right, fine, if everyone says I'm the dragon, fine, I'll be the dragon, and I'll go, and I'll just end it all. And that's ultimately his goal. He's angry and resentful, and rightfully so. I mean, he's been thrust into this situation where he's discovered that he could channel the tainted male half of the one power, saidin, and he doesn't want to be able to channel this one power. It destroys his mind and will drive him insane. There's a reason why the Red Aja hunt men who could channel, to basically cut them off from the source and eliminate their ability to channel altogether, because they go insane. It was the male Aes Sedai that originally broke the world in the first place. And so Rand is really fearful of what he can do and what this means for him. And so he's doing everything he can to just try and end it, to try to go back to a normal life, which of course can't happen. So eventually, of course, between Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine and their hunt for the Black Aja and Rand and the Stone of Tear, it all comes to a head in the end with this big battle at the Stone of Tear, essentially, with all of our main characters involved. And eventually, once he's there and he grabs Kalandor, of course, he finally accepts the truth. He finally accepts the reality of who he is and proclaims himself the Dragon Reborn. So this is a pivotal moment for him as he accepts and embraces who he is and what he is and what his purpose in life is and what he's destined to become. So it's really a turning point for Rand at this point, as he can no longer fight against reality. Now, our character Perrin Goldeneyes, he's kind of on a similar adventure, so to speak. He's basically a wolf brother. He can talk to wolves, he can communicate with wolves. He is someone who discovers this about himself, and eventually we encounter a character named Gnome. He's basically another wolf brother, but one that has gone all wolf, and he's had to be caged up and gone insane, basically. And Perrin sees this, and he thinks to himself, is this my destiny? Is this what I'm to become? And he's been struggling and fighting against this idea that he is a wolf brother since he first discovered he had this talent. He doesn't want it. He feels that he will be overpowered by the wolf aspect of his abilities and basically lose his humanity. So he's really reluctant to accept this as part of his fate as well. He doesn't want it. He is fighting hardcore against it. So Perrin, like Rand, they're both fighting aspects of their nature and who they are and what they are in an effort to not lose their own humanity. So it's really interesting to kind of see both of these characters fighting in this way against their true natures. And as that evolves and their story evolves, we'll kind of see how that continues to progress throughout the story. And then, of course, we got Mat. He's a gambler. He's, you know, just a bit of a nutcase at times, but he just kind of seems to be pulled with the tides and going every which way, and doesn't really seem to have much control over him or himself. And there's nothing particularly special about Mat, at least not in this part of the story. He doesn't have any special abilities, but he's just kind of, you know, stuck in the river being swept downstream with the pull of the ta'veren, so Rand and Perrin and the events that are happening around him. So he's on his way, and of course he's been cured now of the dagger that had poisoned his mind, body, and soul, and the possession that he had of this dagger. So that's already been taken care of. He's recovering from his treatment in the White Tower, but he doesn't want to be around the Aes Sedai. He wants to get rid of them. He wants to be as far away from them as possible. So he takes the opportunity to deliver a letter to Queen Morgase of Andor, so Elaine's mother. And of course, he meets up with Tom Merrilin again, but not all is niceties. And he basically follows the trail and the path, and he himself gets swept away in things, and he's being chased by all kinds of bad guys and all that kind of thing as well. And just in general, like our Two Rivers folks, so Rand, Mat, Perrin, Egwene, Nynaeve, are really just caught up in the flow of things. And of course now Elaine, Queen of Andor's daughter, the daughter heir. It's just really, things are really starting to pick up the pace, so to speak. The story is only just now getting started with this. And, the Forsaken are loose. They're breaking free of their prison. Rand thinks he's ended it, but of course he hasn't. The shadow is rising. It is going to continue to get bigger and stronger, and they've got to intervene. They've got to stop everything that's going on, because the fate of the entire world hangs in the balance, and Rand the dragon is destined to break the world again, but it's the only way that we're going to be able to save the world, so to speak. And just so much is happening within this book, and it's just a really awesome book as a whole. And one thing I could really say that I'm really enjoying about the whole Wheel of Time is, at least for the first 3 books, is the prologue. The prologue to each book has really helped set the tone for the story you're about to read, and really kind of draws you in, dropping hints here and there of what's to come. And just, it's overall well written. The characters are awesome. Dragon Reborn, really, really good. Really enjoying it. And I'm sure that I'm going to enjoy The Shadow Rising just as much. I had originally given this book a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Definitely I'm going to be bumping that up to a 5-star review, because I'm absolutely loving this book overall. Loving the Wheel of Time, 3rd time through it, and I'm sure I'll continue to love each and every book as I continue to reread the series, which I'm doing because I'm really excited about the TV series coming out. So those are just some of my thoughts, particularly on The Dragon Reborn, Book 3 of The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. So of course I have started the next book, The Shadow Rising, so definitely stay tuned for that review. And again, thank you so much for watching. Hope you leave a comment, like, comment, subscribe, the usual stuff. You'll find links to my social media profiles in the description below. And don't forget to keep on reading, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Until then, keep on reading. Bye!